Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many different twists and turns, as well as surprises in this film by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about this film that we know J.J. Abrams is really tapping into is, of course, a lot of different revelations, surprises that will change our view on the entire Skywalker saga, and it really is a big question on whether or not this is a good or a bad move by Disney and Lucasfilm, as it's almost like stepping into a minefield. It's really a hit or miss situation here on whether or not these twists and turns are going to sit well with a lot of fans around the world. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting, as there is a hint of Luke Skywalker being resurrected in Episode 9, at least temporarily. Now, specifically, a description of both of Kylo Ren and Rey looking at each other face to face, where it appears that they are in a standoff, either after or before their lightsaber duel. It's described that both Rey and Kylo Ren begin to hear the voice of course, Luke Skywalker in the form of a Force ghost, where their heads eventually turn to the right, witnessing Luke Skywalker appearing out of thin air. It's said that he holds the blue hue like a normal Force ghost. However, as he walks closer to Kylo and Rey, the blue hue begins to fade and vanish, where Luke appears to be both flesh and blood. It's said that Luke's outfit in the sequence is similar to his ceremonial robes. However, the iconic green lightsaber hilt can be seen strapped to his belt. Luke's hair is said to be shorter than ever before in the Skywalker saga and still maintains the beard, however colored brown. The next goes over Luke on top of a boulder where it appears to levitate as Kylo and Rey witness and stare at Luke in shock and awe. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this, and we heard about something like this in a very similar way a couple of months ago about Luke Skywalker in a blue hue transitioning to solid form. And it's leaving open a lot of questions on whether or not this really means that Luke Skywalker is going to be, resurrected in Star Wars Episode 9, and if this actually could have something to do with the title itself of Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, I will say this, and I will say this. I don't think that he's coming back to life permanently, as I have said before many times in the past. I believe that this scenario is Luke Skywalker coming back to life temporarily in order to fulfill a certain cause for the galaxy, right? Something for Kylo Ren and Rey, or to give them a certain lecture about the netherworld of the Force, because we do know that J.J. Abrams will be exploring the netherworld in this movie, where both Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, and Daisy Ridley shot a sequence in the middle of a 360-degree green screen, where the CGI being inserted into all of this is said to give us our very first glimpse of what the netherworld of the Force actually looks like. And this could also have something to do, quite possibly, also with Emperor Palpatine. Now, looking at Luke Skywalker, what's really intriguing about this scene in particular is that it's described that both Luke and, of course, it's described that both Kylo and Rey, I should say, are both in a standoff, as if they are, getting ready for their lightsaber duel, or if this takes place after the lightsaber duel, is a big mystery as of right now. However, eventually, they both hear the Force Ghost voice of Luke Skywalker in the distance, where they eventually turn their heads and witness Luke Skywalker transitioning from Force Ghost form to solid form. So my biggest question of all is, why would Kylo Ren hear Luke Skywalker in the form of a Force Ghost? We've always known that dark side users can't interact with regular Force Ghosts, or they can't really interact with Force Ghost voices or anything around those lines. So this could very well be J.J. Abrams changing a lot of things here for Star Wars Episode 9. We know that eventually he hops onto a large boulder as it begins to levitate, which matches up directly with what we talked about a couple of months ago about Mark Hamill actually filming a sequence in the month of January where he stepped on board of a large boulder that was levitated over at Cardington, where he most likely was in the form of either a Force Ghost or in his solid form. Now, there was no green screen used for that particular sequence, so they didn't really have to make him a Force Ghost. And this is really leaving open a lot of possibilities of what a Force Ghost can really do. Now, there is this thing in the EU, I'm pretty sure that you guys may recall, that in the EU, we do know that Luke Skywalker eventually dies and becomes a Force Ghost and talks to Cade Skywalker in the Legacy series. So, it seems like a parallel to this, where Luke is able to actually show himself in front of both Kylo Ren and Rey and at least, you know, come back to life temporarily, and that's exactly why he's in a solid form. It's that, or either he is the strongest Force ghost in history and is able to make himself appear as if he is alive. Now, this was an original idea for Return of the Jedi, in case you guys did not know. George Lucas originally wanted to bring back Obi-Wan Kenobi back to life and interact with Luke Skywalker on Endor during the Endor celebration, where he was both flesh and blood interacting with Luke and telling him how, you know, his whole entire connection to the netherworld of the Force has expired because Anakin Skywalker has returned, and now Obi-Wan is back to life. That was an original draft for the script of Return of the Jedi that seems to be shifting and making its way over to The Rise of Skywalker, and could have something to do with the official title of this movie. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.